Thank you for visiting Past the Wire TV, the YouTube channel of PastTheWire.com. Buongiorno everybody, day 8, Saratoga Today with Past the Wire. I'm John Stetton. We're back and ready to take a look at Saturday's card, second Saturday of the meet. Thanks to Amwager, ADW, that you will see their commercial on this show, showing some of the many tools they have for the better. Shout out to our friends at Zilla Racing Stables for helping making this show possible. If you're looking to get in the game now for Saratoga or any time, a lot of different partnerships available there, and we've got an interesting Saturday. You know, we all look forward to the stakes at Saratoga, the coaching club American Oaks. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out a way to make some money on this race, and pretty much turned out to be a waste of time. 4-horse field, Malathaat going to be odds on. The only horse I think can beat her, which probably everybody in the racetrack is going to feel the same way, is Clairiere. And I don't think that's very likely under the circumstances today, although I think they're both nice fillies. I think Malathaat's better, at least right now, and definitely has the advantage from the rail in today's race in the 4-horse field. And it looks like not only is Malathaat going to win at a very, very short price, like 2 to 5, 1 to 5, but it looks like Clairiere, who's going to be the horse bet into her, and also you're taking, if you went to Clairiere, you'd be taking a short price on her to beat a shorter price, which is not the best strategy in the world. And it looks like it's going to be a 1-4 exacta that pays maybe $4, and I think you'd be lucky to get it. I just, I don't see any way around it. I like to look for young, improving horses, and my strategy in betting horses, I bet horses based on what I think they're going to do, not what they've done, which I think is a big mistake that a lot of handicappers make when they study and look at a race. They call them, quote, past performances, and we go by that, but I like to look at them in a way a little differently. For example, I read past performances. Most people read them from the most recent race down. I read them from the oldest race I can see up, because I'm looking for patterns and trends and things that are going to happen, not what happened. And I love to look for horses that are improving or on an upswing that can maybe jump up and do something they haven't done before. But I can see improvement coming, maybe from both of the other horses, more so Rudolph Brissett's horse than the other one, than Rob Atris's horse. But I don't think either one can jump up enough to beat Malathaat. And we'll talk a little bit about that after we talk about the second race. Is an interesting race. Other than the stakes, what do we look for at Saratoga? We look for the maiden races. And the potential stars and some of the allowance races. And I think in the maiden races today, we've got some potential nice horses. I'm always reluctant to throw out the word star, but I think we've got some nice horses. And I made a couple of notes on some of them. We'll go through them. There's a couple of spots I like later that I think maybe we could do some good with. But in the second race, Freedom of the Press, I just note, worked with Balacola. Balacola, if you remember, is a horse I liked at the meet already. Ran second. I thought that was one of the horses that Chad ran coming from Tampa. I thought that she could have won. She went really, really wide, was very, very far back, and really came on the far outside for second to a race. Irad Rhoda to a race. Coincidentally, Jose won on a Graham Motion horse. Got the jump on her, and I thought Balacola could have won, so I thought that it was interesting that this horse worked outside of her and was in hand, and you know, if Balacola did win, which I think she could have, that would make this work look better. But the real interesting one in here, I think, is Lady Valentine. Lady Valentine, she went off 6-5 sprinting at Belmont, and the reason she went off 6-5 was because she's been working, or at least one time worked a length back of Witt, who won the stake and is on everybody's radar. That nice one that Pletcher has that come from off the pace and win. So you know, she's going to stretch out, move to the dirt. She's 5-1 on the morning line. I've got a feeling she's going to take a lot of money. I don't think the people that bet her down to 6-5 because she worked with Witt are going to forget that, and I think they're going to be inclined to give her another shot, and that might not be a bad move. I think she can definitely run well. The other horse I thought was worth mentioning in here is an angle that I like. It's actually two angles that I like. If you look at the 9, Tracy Flick. Tracy Flick won first time out, was disqualified, came back against maidens again. So to me, that's a maiden. That's a winner running back against maidens, even though she was DQ'd. She won a race, got DQ'd. Now she's back against maidens. She didn't win that day. She got beat a nose at Keeneland in the spring, which we know was a tough meet. But you know, that's an angle I love. I love a maiden that won coming back. You know, that was disqualified. That's now allowed to run back against maidens. And after that loss, in what I thought was a show of confidence, Shug runs her back in the Hilltop at Pimlico on Preakness weekend. She ran okay. She didn't run that good. Only went off 5-1. You know, now she's a horse that ran in a stake and actually won a race, even though she was DQ'd. Now back again with maidens. She's drawn on the outside, but those are two angles I like a lot. So that's just something I thought was worth mentioning. We'll just touch base a little on the coaching club because it's here and we've kind of got to deal with it. You know, I think Malathaat from the rail could even wind up the speed. I think it looks like a chalky 1-4. You know, Malathaat had a really good work coming into the race. She wound up behind a couple of horses from another barn, had to go to the outside. Pletcher talked about it on TV where he told Johnny, just don't sweat it, just take it to the outside. She still was full of herself and looked really good. They showed it on TV. But I liked something about Clarier's last work too. I just don't think that the setup is good enough for her to get the best of Malathaat today. And I think on the square, Malathaat's probably a little bit of a better filly, not by as much as people think. But just the circumstances today just don't do it for me. But she worked 5/8 of a mile in just over a minute and galloped out in 1:14. And you know, the notes were that she was getting stronger after every pole, and I like that. I mean, that's just how you want to see a horse coming into a race like this. So, you know, with that said, it looks like 1-4, and watch the race. The sixth race is a maiden special that I thought was really interesting. LeBraid, the 2, Safi Joseph's horse, second starter, you know, took a lot of money in the first race, ran really good, got beat a neck, but since then has worked with Karam. That's the older horse, the older turf horse that I liked the other day that was on the lead and quit late. Worked with New York Traffic, who we know is a stake horse from the Saffie Joseph barn. Kind of held his own with both of those. So to me, that's that's impressive. Chelino makes second start for Steve Asmussen. I think that's the one they were betting in the entry that day, the Gun Runners. I like him. I think he's going to be a decent sire. I love Gun Runner, the horse himself. He was an old school type war horse in modern days. Didn't miss many dances, stuck around running, and I think this horse is very eligible to run a much better race today. The problem is with these maidens, you just don't know what you're going to catch, because there's a lot of buzz about with Tasha, Chad Brown's horse, who Irad has been working. I think that's notable. Volcanic is also working well, and Tyler Gaffleone's been working that one. I think that is notable. And Fluid Situation, believe it or not, John Terranova's horse, is one of the horses that Malathaat wound up behind in that whole shakeup when she had to switch to the outside. I don't know what that means, but Joel Rosario's been working this one from way back at Belmont, and he takes the call here. And I've got to think he would have had options in this race. So there's a few to watch, but if you put a gun to my head, I would really have a toss up between the 2, the 4, and the 7, and I'd probably lean to the 4, unless the 7 just takes that you can't beat me screaming the board money that Chad Brown sometimes takes when he's got a really, really good one. This is an Into Mischief for Peter Brandt, potentially a good one. So if that one takes that kind of money, that may just sway me. But otherwise, I would lean to Chelino. But my eye is on all those others as well. 7th race I thought was an interesting race. And the horse that I was looking at is a little bit of a stretch. And you'll see it when I explain it, but never explain. Catches my eye, and I think could possibly outrun those odds, which are going to be pretty healthy. Worked with Passing Out, who's a decent enough horse. They both showed good, good speed around the dogs. Both were very willing. It was a really good work. And I look at this race, and there's just nobody in here that jumps out at you. And I see 30 to 1, a ridiculous price. Shug, had this horse when he was at Keeneland and in Kentucky, and sent it to Indiana Grand. Not the biggest vote of confidence, but there's just not a lot in here. I think this horse can definitely surprise at a big number, and maybe not win, but maybe hit the board at 20, 30 to 1 in the exactas, triples, and supers, and maybe if he gets lucky, maybe even win the race. I mean, Jose's riding. I know he'd ride for Shug anyway, but he's riding, and that's always a vote of confidence. I like that. So we'll see what happens with that one. The other horse that I might take a look at. I mean, Calibrate has been somewhat of a disappointment, but it's bred well enough for turf to maybe move up over it. Worked once over it at Saratoga, didn't show all that much, but I don't know that you have to be all that much to win this race. So I don't know. I may take a shot with Never Explained, Shug's horse to 10, and just use that horse in some supers and triples. Back and forth, maybe with the 7, 11, and 12, and a couple of others, and just key him around and just try and get lucky and catch something with him at a big price in a superfecta or something, and see what happens. But again, he's going to be 30 to 1, and he's coming from Indiana Grant to Saratoga, so I thread lightly on that, but I think the horse can outrun the odds for sure. In the 8th race, again, another race where you've got a bunch of maidens that could be good. I lean to the 1, split the double. I like the last race. When you hit the gate coming out, you don't know how much damage that does to a horse. This filly hit the gate coming out of the gate, was back maybe further than she could have or would have been, and really was chomping up the ground and coming late. And another jump, she's the winner. Problem is she's got to deal with the 2 Shugs horse who stretches out off who adds Lasix coming back, first time 3-year-old, well-bred, horse, definitely eligible and dangerous. And then you've got the other Chad in there. And really the 1 is the other Chad, because the other Chad, the 3, Rastafari, will probably be a shorter price than the horse that I like, which is the 1 split then double. But there's also a little talk on the 9 Ego Trip. Apparently worked very well on the turf at Saratoga around the dogs. I didn't see that one myself, but I heard it was a really, really good work and caught a lot of eyes. And those first-time Euros are always dangerous, especially with Lasix. And Brendan Walsh is very, very capable of winning with them. But I still lean to the 1 split then double, getting the inside trip with Jose today and getting up and making amends for last time out. 9th race, super interesting race. This is probably my shot on the card for today. It's an exciting card and a fun card to watch, but there was really nothing that I could say I love today. Like Ducal so far was the only one of the meet I said major wager I love. But in this race, I think there's a horse that can kind of get away from them, especially going 7. I like speed going 7. A lot of people don't. They say, that extra furlong is a killer. I like a horse on the front going 7 as much as I do 6, because sometimes they get to relax a little bit more and the pace is not quite as fast, and they kind of go a little bit further than you think. And the one that I think is going to be the speed here is a super well-bred horse who went to Steve S. Musson's barn from Bob Baffert's barn, just about went wire to wire off a 44.5 at Churchill Downs. Flash Magic, a pioneer at an Nile Colt out of Glinda the Good. That's just good magic. Good, she's a producer. I think this horse can get the lead here whenever Ricardo Santana wants. I'm not wild about betting maidens, first time against winners, but I just think this one might be able to get away from them. And if the track is playing kind to speed, I'll like it even more. So we'll see. But again, there's other ways to go in there, but that's where I lead. I'm going to go for the speed play in race 9 with Flash Magic. Caramel Swirl is no slouch and not slow by any stretch of the imagination. If I was going to go too deep, that's probably what I would do. But I lean to maybe Flash Magic getting the jump or getting the lead and maybe being able to get home, especially if we can get a speedy track. The other stake, the Caress, a grade 3 sprint on turf. I mean, Carvel and Robin Sparkles, both really, really nice gals. I mean, both super fast. Most people think Robin Sparkles is a little better, and she's 6-5. The other one's 7-5. I'm not sure of that. I think they're pretty close to the same ability-wise. But believe it or not, I think the 4 In Good Spirits has a shot to beat them both. And I'm not saying either one can't win or their plays against. I'm not saying that at all. But I just think that if I was betting a pick 5 or pick 6 today, which is a good chance I do, those are the 3 I would use. But I would focus on In Good Spirits, maybe pulling an upset, especially if those 2 hook up a little bit early, or Jakarta remembers that she used to have speed and shows a little of it. She's kind of been off form. but with Saez always eligible to come out running and blasting. And if she goes back and shows that speed, or somebody tries to keep Robin Sparkles honest, which really the only two I see are maybe Caravel and Jakarta doing that. I think In Good Spirits can run a very, very good race here at a nice price. She's 8-1 on the morning line. We'll see. In the finale, the 11th race, you've got a heavy favorite on the morning line, My Lips Are Sealed, but I actually lean to the 10, Mike's Girl, who's got some good back races. I see, we never know how it's going to play out, but I see some speed in here, and I think the pace can get, if not hot, contested. This one can come off the pace, can come on, be close to the pace, but not that far back. Is a 3-time winner. Back against New York breds. A little cheap, I get it. But these are New York bred, limited winners. And I think this one gets a good trip here. Whether she's good enough, we'll see. But I think she projects, in my mind, in the way I'm looking at this race, to get a really good trip here. She's been competitive in New York before with state breds of similar caliber. I see no reason that she can't be again. With Jose up, and if the pace is right and she gets the right trip, I think she can make a lot of noise, and she's 10-1 on the morning line, so maybe she'll be a nice price. Again, nothing we love today. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Let's hope we get lucky. Sometimes on days you don't really love anything, you wind up getting a little bit hot. At least our horses are not getting eased. We got a little bit of seconditis going now, but that's okay, because that'll turn. I'm not worried about it, and you shouldn't be either. And we'll see what happens. But enjoy the races. There's Del Mar later. They've got some nice races over there, and they've got that unbelievable race at Ascot that you should check out, the King George, Queen Elizabeth, with a stellar, I think there's only five horses in there, 6, but it's a stellar field with Love, Mishriff, Adiyar, just a stellar field. Lone Eagle, and that other really, really nice filly. I can never say her name. So Wonderful, or whatever. But really a heck of a horse race. So check that out. We'll be back in the morning and win some photos, make some money, get lucky, enjoy the races. Ciao for now.
Cloud computing outside. Classic Empire head to head down to the line. Cloud computing wins the Preakness.
Nobody does it better.